giving you ballpark numbers, but nearly 80 or more percent of divorce are filed by women. That's no indictment on women. I actually think that the woman probably gave the husband fair warning 10 miles up the road, but he ignored it, and then she files for divorce. So, but here's the pattern that I've seen. A very large amount, a very high percentage of couples of wives are alleging that they're being emotionally abused. And this started happening in a lot of our sessions. And I want you to know that when you start using the word abuse, there's a domino effect. And here is the domino effect. Everybody that hears you say it, they're going to side with you. There's already going to be an indictment against your spouse. The judge and the jury already showed up, already sealed the case. Whether that's a counselor, a lawyer, a friend, a mother, a father. And so that's a problem. Because number one, the husband didn't even get a chance to defend himself or to maybe to heal or to correct his behavior. And so there's a couple more problems here that I want to lay out for you. And so years ago, when this started happening, I took out a blank sheet of paper and we sat in front of the woman, and here's what we did, right? Her husband's sitting right next to her. We said, okay, I want you to articulate exactly how is he emotionally abusing you. And by the way, in all my research, I found that in the last 10 years, this is sort of a new phenomenon, the phrase emotional abuse. Yeah. And here's the problem. The experts don't even agree on what does that mean. It's a pretty wide stroke, great, physical abuse, that's pretty tangible, pretty detectable. Emotional abuse, that's a hard one to detect. Because in every fight, both parties are typically emotionally wounded. But is it abuse? And so here's what I would do. I would ask the woman, please be very specific. What is it that your husband is doing that's emotionally abusive? Calls me names. All right, let's write that down. Yells at me. Write that down. He gets in my face, like he intimidates me. Okay, write that down. He gives me the cold shoulder for 5 days. Right, I write that down. So I write down all these things, and I look at him and I say, is this true? He says, every single time, he says, yes, I'm guilty. Okay, so far, I validate her. I don't argue with her. I don't judge anything. I mitigate this, and I mediate. So then I take her sheet of paper of all the accusations. I then look at him, and I go right down the list one at a time. And I look at him and I say, you be honest with me. Has she ever cursed at you in the last big fight? Like, let's go back to your big fight. Did she curse at you? Yes. Check. Did she get in your face? Yes. Check. Did she call you names? Yes. Check. Did she pull away from you for 5 days? Yes. Check. And by the time I'm done, they both are guilty of the same behavior. But she is telling the world he's emotionally abusive. He is not. Men don't go to work and tell their buddy Bob, hey, yeah, my wife's emotionally abusing me, Bob. Men don't do that. Men don't do that. And so if you want to get very factual and very technical here, they're both equal in the sin that they're falling to on each other. Like they're equally guilty, equally toxic, equally hurtful. And so right now I've neutralized this idea that she is innocent and an angel and he's an abuser. So I've neutralized that, which is very necessary. We've also, under these circumstances, have asked her not to go shout to the whole world anymore that he's emotionally abusive, unless she's willing to say to the very people, I'm also emotionally abusive. And so please stop doing this. It's not fair. It's not accurate. And then we take them through the mentoring process and say, hey, we can help you stop this toxic behavior. We can help you. We can help both of you stop this. And so then we just mentor them like we would any couple. And so I put together this this training module called fact-based mentoring. Well, what does that mean, Matt? When I took that blank sheet of paper out, I documented the facts. F-A-C-T-S. The facts provide discernment. And when I got the facts out from both sides, it put me in a position of discernment. It put me in a position of casting discernment on the situation, and it put me in a place of leverage. Had I not got all the facts out first before I even cast discernment, that's a problem for mentors. We don't want to rush to judgment. We don't want to rush to judgment. We don't want to rush to a decision. We don't want to do any of that because we get ahead of the Holy Spirit. And one thing I love about rounding the bases is I sit back. I want you to think of just metaphorically, you sit back and you watch them round the bases and you discern what's going on. And the Holy Spirit gives you this ability. The Holy Spirit will give you discernment, but the facts help me discern. So I built this tool. Now, you might be thinking, well, what if it is emotional? What if it is emotional abuse and it is one-sided? Okay, then my response is different. Then I'm all about protecting the woman. I'm all about protecting the man. And by the way, if you do a lot of research, you'll find out women are actually recorded more physically abusive in marriages, in physically aggressive than what you might think. And some statistics say they're more statistically aggressive physically than the men are. But nobody's reporting this to the police. All I'm saying is get the facts before you cast judgment. And that's why we built this. So I'll share